tell you my story, please like and subscribe. I was born on the outskirts of Paris, and my early life was pretty uneventful until I turned 7, and my parents decided we were going on our first real vacation. That involved flying to the Maldives on the other side of the earth. I was super excited, but as soon as the plane took off, I started feeling very uneasy. The height made me feel dizzy. Then, halfway in our flight, we started having really bad turbulence, and that made me panic. Are we gonna crash?
Don't be silly. The chances are really low.
So you're saying there is a slight chance we might die? I cried hysterically for the remaining flight, and when we finally landed, I was shaking. Not even a week of fun at sea could make me forget, and when it was time to go back home, I refused to get on the plane again. I caused such a scene at the airport that my parents had no choice but to take a ship for the return trip, and it drained their credit cards.
This is the last time we're going on vacation ever.
Mom and Dad argued about money all the way home, and soon after, they separated. I was convinced it was my fault. No, honey, we were having problems for a while. Don't worry, we'll be okay. But seeing them divorce was heartbreaking. Dad remarried, had new children, and completely forgot about me. Mom tried many things to cheer me up, but it seems like nothing was working. Until one day, she took me ice skating at the local rink, and that changed everything. When I was on the ice, it felt like I was flying, and all my problems disappeared. Mom saw the potential I had and signed me up for private lessons. By the time I was 10, I was already winning junior local competitions. My training was expensive, but Mom worked double shifts to cover for it. If this is your dream, I will do anything in my power to help you. You're the best, Mom. I'll make you proud. At school, I did well enough. My peers admired me, but unfortunately, I didn't have many close friends. Also, as time went by, I started noticing I wasn't like other girls my age. Like one time when I was 15, I was at a friend's house for a sleepover and we were watching the movie Titanic. During the final scene, all the other girls were crying, but I just couldn't get it. I snatched the remote and paused the movie. This is so stupid. Look, there's enough room on that door for Jack to climb too. Elodie, you're ruining the moment. This moment is already ruined. Who even likes such dumb movies? Needless to say, I was never invited for a movie night again. So maybe I wasn't that much of a romantic. Or at all. Big deal. As I grew older, most of my peers started dating, breaking up, and crying over ice cream, while I was still waiting for my first crush to happen. I felt like I was being weird, and the only person in the world who got me was my best friend Louis. We got closer months ago. Mom is happy I'm not getting distracted by dating, but her sister and friends always ask why I don't have a boyfriend, as if there's something wrong with me.
It's not something you can force, the same way I can't like girls. And even if you never fall in love with someone, who cares? You're amazing just the way you are.
I know, but sometimes I wish I wasn't so different, and that guys would stop asking me out.
I wish that was my problem.
It would be if you came out.
No thank you, I'd rather swim with alligators.
Louis was terrified of his father finding out he was gay. In a way, we were both fishes out of water, and maybe that's why we got along so well. I knew I could talk to him about everything without being judged. When I turned 18, I was added to the national competition that would send the winner to the Olympics. That would give me the opportunity to have a real sponsor, relieving Mom of the huge financial burden. By that point, I was training daily, and my coach had given me a very complex program.
You have a real chance of winning, Elodie, but you really need to land that triple axel.
That jump would keep me up at night. It was so difficult, less than 20 women landed it in competition ever. And as if that wasn't enough, one day, the restaurant where Mom worked caught fire, and she ended up in the hospital with a broken ankle and some burns. Her condition wasn't too serious, but she needed time to recover. I won't be able to work for a while. I'm sorry, Elodie, but I can't pay your coach anymore. I was devastated. It felt like my only chance at a career had just been taken away. But I didn't want to show that to Mom. She was already feeling bad, and I didn't want to make her feel worse. I picked up a job in a small cafe to earn some extra cash, but between studying and working, I was exhausted. I was crying on the phone with Louis one night when he came up with a crazy solution.
You won't like it, but hear me out. My dad is having this big party in a couple of days with all his business partners, and he insisted that I invite my girlfriend.
What girlfriend?
I may have lied about that. Dad kept asking me why I was still single at my age, so I panicked and told him I was dating someone. I know, it's wrong, but I never expected him to meet her. Anyway, you could pretend to be my girlfriend, and I'll ask him to sponsor you. He likes donating to all sorts of causes, and for a potential daughter-in-law, I'm sure he'll accept.
I don't know. Lies like that always end badly. Can't you just tell him the truth?
You don't know him. Ever since I was little, he wouldn't stop talking about my future wife and how he hopes I'll have like 25 grandkids. Trust me, this is the only way.
I was uncomfortable with the fake dating plan, but Louis was right. It would benefit both of us, at least until I managed to win the championship and get another sponsor. So when the day of the party rolled out, I put on my prettiest dress and ended up charming all of the guests. Louis was cold sweating when it was time to introduce me to his father, and I could see why. His dad was a very stern-looking man with a permanent frown on his face. But when we started talking, he seemed kind in his way. Louis took the opportunity to tell him about Mom's incident and how I needed help with my career.
I understand, but unfortunately, this isn't a good time for my company. Maybe next year.
I felt like the earth stopped spinning. Louis looked as shocked as me and promised to talk to his dad again, but it was of no use. Some days later, I was at the cafe working, but I really couldn't focus and started crying again. Just then, someone tapped on my shoulder.
Why is a pretty girl like you crying? You're ruining your makeup.
I looked up and saw Henry, a famous skater who had won the championship the previous season, staring at me. He sat me down, and I ended up telling him all my worries. So now, my career is basically over.
It doesn't have to be. I can pay for your training.
Really? You can? But why? You hardly know me.
I know that everyone needs to see real talent. My family is one of the wealthiest in the country. My car insurance is more expensive than your lessons. It's nothing.
I couldn't believe my luck. From that day on, I started practicing with Henry, and he seemed quite impressed with my skills. Some days we would go have coffee after training. He was a lot more experienced than I was, and I loved hearing about his travels and all the talented people he met during competitions. One afternoon after practice, Henry was dropping me at home when he leaned in and tried to kiss me. I quickly pushed him away, and he seemed very confused.
I'm sorry, is there a problem?
I think I might have given you the wrong idea, Henry. I like you, but only as a friend. I'm just not interested in dating anyone.
I see. What can I say? It's breaking my heart that you're doing this to me, and I get it, but I don't think any other guy would. You have to be careful about giving a guy wrong signals, especially when you get so close in such a short period. Guys always expect something in return. Anyway, I guess I'll leave now.
Henry gave me a quick hug and left. I decided to keep my distance from Henry after that. I didn't want to hurt him anymore. Soon it was time for the competition, but the day before the competition, I was so stressed out I could barely stay still. So Louis asked me to go to the local fair with him to calm my nerves down. We went to all the booths trying our luck. I spent an embarrassing amount of money at the duck pond game, and Louis won at the miniature rifle range. The lady gave him a huge heart-shaped plushie, which he gave to me.
A lucky charm for tomorrow.
Sure. It has nothing to do with how bulky this is. We were having a good time, going on roller coasters and eating fries, but just then, I heard someone calling my name from the crowd. I turned around and saw Henry walking in our direction.
So, he's the reason you broke up with me?
Henry? No, you're misunderstanding. Louis is just a friend.
Just like I was a friend to you? You know, if you liked someone else, you could have just said that. And what's even about this guy that made you reject me? Is it money? Careful, dude, you got yourself a gold digger. Don't you dare talk to her like that. Or what, you'll hit me?
Henry took a step forward, his fist balled up, but I got in the way and pushed Henry aside. It's not worth it, Louis. He's just a crazy, possessive guy. Forget about him.
Oh, wow. Crazy and possessive? This is how you say thank you for being a good friend and helping you? Something this idiot would never do?
I wanted to argue more, but I decided against it and left with Louis. I couldn't believe Henry would turn on me like that. I thought he was my friend, but I couldn't waste too much sleep because of him. I had a competition to win. I set the alarm on my phone and went to sleep early so I got some rest. But the next morning, I woke up to Louis screaming in my face.
Get up, Elodie, you're late.
What? Oh my god, how did I not wake up? I checked my phone and the screen was glitching. It looks like my phone's broken.
We don't have time for that. Hurry up or you'll miss the competition.
I quickly got dressed and left with Louis, but the road was jam-packed with traffic. It was the weekend and the main carnival day. As if that wasn't enough, the main bridge was closed because of a small accident. This is the only way to cross the river. We're never gonna make it. What am I gonna do?
I might have an idea.
Louis got out of the car and we made our way back to the fair from the previous night.
Okay, anytime now.
Who? What?
That.
I looked where Louis was pointing, and my heart dropped. Right over the fair, a couple of hot air balloons were already taking off, and others were waiting for customers on the ground. Oh, no. You gotta be kidding.
I know you're afraid of heights, but this is your only chance. Listen to me, Elodie. You can't let your fear win. Not now, when you're so close to making your dream come true.
Louis was right. My stupid fear was getting in the way of my dreams, but I was stronger than that. We paid the man piloting the balloon and hopped on. As we took off, I closed my eyes and wrapped myself around Louis like an octopus.
You can look look now. Trust me.
I slowly opened my eyes, and it was so different from what I remembered from that airplane all those years back. Sure, I was still afraid, but from up there, the world looked so peaceful and beautiful. The flight didn't last long, and soon we were landing in front of the arena. We ran inside, and I got my skates on just in time. The place was packed, but I felt confident and performed my best routine. And then came the final moment, the dreaded triple axel. I took a deep breath and spun 3 times, landing beautifully, and the crowd went crazy. The results were announced soon after, and I was over the moon to bag the first prize. Right after I got my trophy, I was getting back to Lewis when Henry got in my way. What now?
I just came to tell you that I'm sorry. I was wrong and totally out of line. Also, I really thought that hackers would hack your phone and keep you away from the competition, but I guess talent always finds a way.
You hacked my phone? That's why the alarm didn't go off and nobody could reach me? That's horrible, Henry. Why would you do that?
Because I wanted to show you your place. But like I said, I was wrong, and I'd like to start a new friendship with you from scratch.
Yeah, I don't think so. I can't trust you, and friendship is based on trust. Now, if you'll excuse me, my friend is waiting for me. I went backstage to Lewis and was kind of surprised to see his dad waiting for me.
Congratulations, young lady. I'm proud my son has such a talented girlfriend.
Actually, Dad,
Lewis gathered himself for a moment and then told his dad the truth.
I'm sorry for all the lies, but all this time I was afraid of disappointing you.
You're right, I am disappointed, but with myself. I kept projecting my ideal life without even considering you'd want something different. Son, all I really care about is for you to be happy. And you, young lady, this was a big step in your life, and I have a surprise for you.
Lewis and his dad took me home with them, where his dad had organized a party to welcome Mom after her discharge from the hospital. She couldn't be at the competition, so the party was our chance to celebrate together. Mom introduced herself and thanked him, and then they kept chatting, and it gave me a weird feeling. What's going on with our parents? They're so red. Are they sick?
Worse, they like each other.
And yes, you guessed it. That's how I ended up with a stepfather and brother. I learned that you have to face your fear, or you'll be afraid for the rest of your life.